militaries of these three empires? How did they operate, and what were the military aspects of them?
So the Ottoman Empire, like many of the other empires, was based on expansion and conquest, and they did this through their military.
As were the Mughals, Babur's military conquered an empire that stretched across India and into modern-day Iran.
As well as the Safavids through the 16th and 17th century. The Safavids military held off the Ottomans to the west and the Mughals to the east.
In the Mughal Empire, the rulers Babur, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah, and Jahan all used their military as an attempt to destroy any surrounding territories and threats and expand their empire.
Yeah, so going off that, the way the Ottomans expanded their empire was their ruler Osman. He helped expand their empire, and then Janissaries were part of their military, which were Christian boys who were captured, and or they were given to them by their parents too. And so Janissaries also improved their military, which helped them expand.
Yeah, the Safavid empire was based off of Shah Ismail, and he was the founder of the Safavid Empire. He brought his followers and led a group to declare independence against the Ottomans, and this is what really started the empire and expanded it.
Our next topic will be the main aspects of the social hierarchies of the Ottomans, the Mughals, and the Safavid
The
empires.
Mughal Empire, the two main religions were Muslim and Hindu, and the Muslim peoples were valued higher over the Hindu people of the region until Akbar became the ruler, and he created religious tolerance between the Hindu and the Muslims. And still, even after that, the Muslims continued to put themselves at the top of the social hierarchy.
Yeah, and the Safavid social hierarchy was more based on jobs and gender more than religion. So what it was men took care of the fields and were expected to do the work and the manual labor, while women stayed home and cleaned and took care of children. And then when one of the rulers, Abbas the First, died, women were forced to wear veils and stripped of their freedom and rights, and who to marry. They were told who to marry.
Yeah, so the Ottomans also didn't treat women very well, but they weren't as secluded as they were in the Safavids. And then going off mine, so there were like 4 social classes in the Ottoman Empire. And so the top was going to be like your sultans and your advisors. And then the middle class was the military people and like the Janissaries. And then the lower class was merchants and traders. And then of course the bottom, like the really, really bottom, was like farmers and slaves.
And women also in the Mughal Empire were forced to stay indoors until Akbar came and fought for women's freedom.
And then the main four steps of the Safavid were the Shah, which was the monarch of the Iran territory, and followed by the bureaucracy, craftsmen, and peasants and merchants of the bottom.
Yeah, and then again, so the reason that the only way that Christians could move up in Ottoman society was becoming a janissary.
Is about the governments of these empires. They all had governments, and how did those governments support their cultures?
Safavids were based off a secular government and a theocratic monarchy, and was also ruled mainly by the military, which was very important.
Yes, so the Ottoman society was also ruled kind of by military, but their top was the sultans, but the advisors actually held more power.
Same with the Mughals, and the founder Babur created a bureaucracy that remained in place for the rest of the dynasty's existence.
Yeah, and also based off of the military government, there was a prime minister that was ranked on top, that was elected by the educated, which were doctors and lawyers. And then below that were finance ministers, and followed by generals, then royal troops.
Yeah, and to add to that, the Ottomans, their culture kind of was about expansion, and one of the reasons they were able to expand so much in their government was because the Mongols previously had made the other empires weak, which made it easy for the Ottomans to conquer them.
And then Akbar, who was a ruler in the dynasty, he established admin systems that helped become the base for the Mughal Empire. And when he came to rule, he abolished the tax on Hindus, which created a much more equal system throughout the
Every empire needs a distinct religion and a distinct culture. What is distinguished about each of these separate empires in their culture and
So
religion?
the main religion of the Ottoman Empire, they were Sunni Muslims, and they were tolerant of other religions except Shiaism, but their empire consisted of mostly Christians and Jews and Muslims.
All right, and the Mughal Empire was also a Muslim-based empire and also Hindu. And then the two religions were very opposed to one another. And then the ruler Akbar created Din al-Ali in an attempt to bring the two religions into one. So he essentially created his own religion. And although his idea was rejected, tolerance was spread throughout.
Yeah, unlike the Ottomans, the Safavids were more based on Sufis other than Sunnis, so that was always clashing. But their main religion was 12er Shia Islam.
Yeah, and kind of like Abi was mentioning, the Ottomans and the Safavids didn't get along because the Ottomans were Sunni and the Safavids were Shiism, and those two sects of Islam like broke off and didn't get along.
And then for culture, Akbar created a large amount of things that became the base for the empire to continue on. And he encouraged widow remarriage, women's freedom from the house, and he encouraged religious tolerance. And he discouraged the wives burning themselves along with the men's ashes when their husbands died. And he discouraged child marriage.
Okay. I guess this kind of goes back to the government, but when the military was trying to take over the Ottomans in the beginning, the whole population that they took over was forced to become Sunni, we were Sunnis that were forced to become Shia.
Yeah, and also, so the Ottomans were known for their architecture, and they built really big mosques, and they just to bring their city up.
Referring to architecture, Jahangir and Shah Jahan did nothing with the empire. Essentially, they left it how Akbar left it, but they did take money from the empire to build the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, the Safavids also had many architecture that was very famous. They have many mosques, but they're more focused on arts, which were very incredible, and also in literature and poetry.
The topic is about the decline of these empires.
Okay. The Mughals declined in the 1800s, and they eventually completely fell in 1827. And they fell because the empire became too large to be managed by the bureaucracy, and money was taken out of funds to build the Taj Mahal, leaving the empire practically broke.
Yeah, the Safavids declined a little earlier than that. They declined in 1722 from trade declining, agriculture was going low, and military declined. And by military declining, the ulama finally took over and just grabbed the empire.
Yeah, so the Ottomans, like Taylor was saying, the Mughals ran out of money, and the Ottomans were running low on money as well because the sultans became corrupt and they started to take funds out of the empire. And then many of the agriculture owners were raising their taxes on peasants, causing revolts inside the empire by peasants.
Right, and then Europeans began to come into the Mughal Empire and take over a lot of the land and create ports and other cities. And the British got the large majority of the empire.
Yeah, and Europeans also came into the Ottoman Empire, and they had better weapons than the Ottomans, and since their government was based on expansion, the Ottomans couldn't really expand anymore because the Europeans had better weapons. so they were unable to make their empire bigger, which caused a lot of their decline.
Thank you for watching. Please give us an A.